Hello Sales Nation, I'm Will Barron, host of the Salesman podcast, and in this video, 5 of the world's leading sales and cold calling experts share their tips, advice, and strategies to succeed in cold calling in 2018.
Yeah, so I think when you're reaching out to somebody, the biggest goal that you can have on a cold call, on a cold email, even if you're sliding into somebody's DM on Instagram, any way that you're reaching out to somebody, your only goal and intention should be to generate interest. Because if you fail to generate interest, you're going to fail to have an appointment or get a deal because just there's no interest there. So the way to really generate interest is to figure out, in using like little micro questions and these value driven questions, is to figure out where somebody might have a problem. I'm not going to tell anybody that they do have a problem and I'm the guy that can solve it, but I do want to find out if somebody might have a problem, because that lays out the foundation for the rest of the communication and allows me to provide value. I want to be able to provide value initially so that somebody can be interested in me, my product, my service, and my company. I think Instagram is a part of the future, and it's definitely part of the present right now. And it's a great way to reach out to people, even those high authority figures, those people that are high in the ranks of different corporate ladders. If they have an Instagram, they have a message, and there's a way that you can use hashtags and you can search out people's profiles and you can find out pretty quickly, whether somebody has a problem that you can solve or some type of interest in a product or service that you sell. I think that it's a bigger mistake when you do have a set appointment or a set meeting with the decision maker and you're about to do your pitch. I think it can be a bit of a mistake to, want to do the whole rapport thing and talk about something because it just kind of devalues the time of why you're actually there to pitch the deal or whatever. But in that initial outreach, mentioning to somebody that, hey, noticed you have, the new Porsche, or I noticed that you just bought a condo on the water in this part of town. Like, that's really cool. It's so easy these days to break the ice because there's so many people that just do it incorrectly. Hey, are you interested in health insurance? Hey, are you interested in life insurance? And I'm sure you get it too, where people reach out to you and they're like, hey, I've got this great product. Do you want it? When my whole life is located online, like most people's are, and it doesn't take very long for you to figure out what I'm really interested in and what I completely have no interest in. So it's just I think it's a big mistake by salespeople not to vet out their leads and their contacts on social to find out at least a little bit about who they're reaching out to.
My view is that everyone should use a script of some sort. And let me just clarify what I mean by script, because the biggest objection to that word script is, oh my God, I'm going to sound like a robot. I'm going to sound like those pesky telemarketers who call at night. And clearly they're using a script, but that's not what I mean by a phone script. So first of all, when you prepare a phone script, you need to learn it, internalize it, right? Think about your favorite actor, Brad Pitt or anybody. When they send Brad Pitt as $30 million to do a film, what do they send him next? A script, right? And what has he done? He's memorized it. He's internalized it. And that's what true professionals do. And so let me take that to a separate level. And guess what? Everybody already follows a script. If you don't believe me, record all of your inside sales reps. After 1 week, transcribe it. What are you going to hand back to them? A script. They're already scripted. They're already saying the same things over and over again. So who should use a script? Well, everybody is already using a script. So now because the real question becomes, which parts can you script out so that you can come up with a best practice approach? Because that's the real thing. And there are many parts of every sale that repeat, right? I think that 80% of all selling situations are repeatable selling situations. If you're making a cold call and a prospect says to you, well, go ahead and email me something, that's a repeatable selling situation. How many times do you get that in a week? So if you're not giving your reps the right response, again, I call it a best practice response to that, then chances are they're going to mishandle it. And most sales reps say, well, where do you want me to email that? Wrong response. So you need to give them a better response, and that's a script.
I think it does, and I think the reason that it does, or the background to making sure that it does, should I say, is the research that you do in the first place. It's not actually what you what you say when you outreach, of course, is very important. But it's only ever as good, the results are only ever as good as the research that you do at the start of the process. If let's say you were selling into retail, and you were selling into retail at a time when minimum wage comes through, or living wage came through, okay, that's going to be a little bit of a double-edged sword to this, of course, because if everyone's talking about it, you lose your ability to stand out. But if you can talk about something like that and just mention it in that first sentence, it'll grab someone's attention. In fact, people don't really read the mail at all. What they do is they look at it and they pull out a few key words. If they see a few key words that give them some confidence in it's worth spending their time actually reading it, they may do. The biggest thing is to make sure that you've got a couple of words that you know that individual is going to recognize as having relevance to them. So it could be, if you're selling into financial services, talking about some new compliance regulation that needs to come in. It could be that if you're talking to an e-commerce person, you're talking about making sure that you get customer retention or being able to grow your addressable market. So making sure that you find the right words that individual is going to recognize as being appropriate to them, and then making sure that they then read on from that. I would hope, if you're a professional salesperson, you'd know the benefit that your product offers. Don't get overly complex. You can ask your customers. I would have thought your marketing department as well would be able to help in terms of, what's the need that we're, or the gap that we're filling here. And then keep it really simple. Keep it really, really simple, like I say. Highlight very simply what it is, the benefit that you can offer. Follow that up with some credibility as to why you have the authority to be able to make the statement that you can help them, and then a single call to action. And only one benefit: never repeat it in follow-up mails, only ever then ask for the call to action, and keep asking for that. Ultimately, what this is doing in many ways is replacing that cold call. Because we're all brilliant at not answering our phones, aren't we? I mean, we're just superb at it, And the gatekeeper system has changed dramatically as well, and all of these sorts of things. So, and actually talking about gatekeepers, that's another thing that's really important as well. Remember, if you're talking to larger organizations and senior people, they may well have a PA or an assistant or someone else who's actually filtering a lot of their mail. So it might mean you need to talk to them on a few more occasions to get past them. And think about how you would like to receive content from somebody else. What's going to make you turn around and say, I'll give this guy or this woman 10 minutes of my time? And keep it short, keep it simple. Don't attach a load of marketing collateral to it, because it doesn't matter. All it'll end up doing is potentially putting you into the TLDR box. And the TLDR box is too long, didn't read, and we all do it. You know yourself, you open a mail, and if you can't see it all on your screen, whether it's your mobile screen or your laptop, then the likelihood is that you'll dump it if you don't know who it's from. So it really needs to be short. It needs to be to the point. Don't worry about it being human. Don't make it all dressed up so it looks like you're trying to make a point. Write to them as if you're writing to a friend. Make it human. Make it something that feels as though you've taken the time to find them. Don't be afraid to use emotional words. It'd be great to do this, or I'd love to do that. These things are fine, because as soon as it starts getting really starchy, the brain immediately tells us, well, actually, this wasn't written by this individual.
Well, I only like to use the term cold call in a derogatory, negative way, because to me, a cold call should not be placed, by the way. There's absolutely no reason for it. A cold call is calling someone that you don't know, they don't know you, there's been no interaction between you, okay? And on the salesperson side, they are giving a pitch, the same pitch, to everybody that they contact. So all of those are a recipe for failure. Now, a warm call, I mean, I'm going to talk about my brand because this is what I've been teaching forever, and I'll talk in terms of a smart call. A smart call is knowing something about the people that we call through research, both online, offline, and real time. Okay. Online would be obviously online, going to the computer and doing the LinkedIn and the Google and any of the other sales enablement tools. The offline, of course, would be anything that some people still read papers, newspapers, or it could be even a referral. And then the real-time research is social engineering. Social engineering is calling into a organization and talking to people other than a decision maker for the sole purpose of gathering intelligence. Social engineering was popularized by computer hackers who would do it for devious terms. We do it for reasons to help the organization. And that's one of the best sources of sales intelligence to help not necessarily warm up the call, but to place a smarter call. Now, a warm call I would put in the category of where there has been some kind of interaction prior to the communication. Either somebody raised their hand, somebody went to a web page, filled out a form, and although in some cases those aren't even necessarily that warm. And big mistakes are made there, by the way. Just a quick tip here. Don't call somebody up and say, hey, I see you downloaded the white paper from our website. Do you have any questions? I mean, that's stupid.
In today's marketplace, you lose business more times than not to an apathetic buyer than you do to a competitor. So a lot of times we go into a meeting thinking that if we get a no from this client, it's because they're going to go with our competitor, and we're selling against that. And so the first step in the process, Will, is to realize that that's not what's happening. You are losing business to a buyer who, on the one hand, understands the benefits of your offering, and they can see why they would do business with you. But on the other hand, they can see of all the reasons why it's not as important as other agendas that they have, or maybe the pain to take action now is not acute or sharp enough to just sit there and do nothing. So that's really the first step, is to understand that when you're losing business, when you're getting a no, it's because they're choosing to do nothing. Anytime I ask my son to do something, I mean, it's a sales call. I mean, it's a negotiation. So rather than me trying to give him motivation to do what I want him to do, I'm just trying to grasp onto any motivation that he might already have to do what I want him to do. And so we're doing the same thing in this meeting, is trying to figure out, why would you do business with me? And I'm going there versus telling you about this new piece of software that rolled out, or some other way in which we're supporting the offering, or how we've reduced the price, or how there's a limited time this is going to sell out. None of that matters. Why would you buy this? Our goal is to drive value, and revenue is a measure of value that you create. If you focus on the revenue, you'll miss the value. If you focus on the value, you'll always hit the revenue.